Thank you, everybody, for joining me for episode 12 of Entrepreneur Monday. I have a wonderful, powerful guest. Her name is Sonia. Sonia is a mother, she is a wife, and she's an entrepreneur, broker, owner of Remax Champions, the Ontario office. Sonia, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I want to get right into it. I've known you for some time. I've seen you grow and progress in the business aspect of it. I just want to know, how do you do it all? With all those different aspects of your life, how do you do it and still progress with your agents and the office that you deal with, and work with, and your family? Tell the people. It's inspiring.
To be honest with you, you just really don't think about it. Like, you just have to, every day you know that you got to continue to do the work, in every aspect. It's, every day you have to do your daily deposits for, your marriage, for your children, for your work, for your clients. So you just have to definitely prioritize, and it's not always easy. The balancing, when people say, oh, it's balance, it's really not,
Right.
my husband now is in the industry. Before he wasn't in the industry, it was harder for him to understand.
Okay.
It really was. It was like, you're always on your phone, or you're always doing this, you're always doing that. But once he got into the industry, he has a lot more respect, and he understands that, I can't complete everything in a certain period of time. It's
right.
not my timing.
Right.
It's our clients, it's these lives that we're helping, we're changing. And same thing with our children, we're trying to show them how to be responsible. And that's one thing that I've always tried to make sure that my kids seeing that, I was a hard worker. I never gave up. I push and push and push. As hard as every day is, not every day is a great day. Not every
Right.
day, you're going to have, everybody agreeing, on the same page.
Happy, right?
Yeah. And then you have fires, you're being
Right,
pulled
all
in
the time.
different,
Yes.
directions, like you said, by your agents. Just by life, I last year with my son, I had a life, event that was, an emergency, kind of pulled me out. So thankfully, when you run your business as a business,
Right.
and you treat it as such, it was a big thing, and it was, affected, my entire family, and even, somewhat of my business. But at least it showed me the importance of, running your business as a
Right.
business. And same thing with your children. You've shown them how to do for themselves. So I'm proud to say that my kids are all very independent.
Good.
And they're not like, Mom, we
need this. Help
Yeah.
us do that.
Exactly.
Right.
So I try to show them, how to find the resources, or how to do these things on their own. So that way they're not dependent upon me.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing for a lot of people. Yes, we love doing for our kids. And I remember my son was like 3 years old, trying to make his own eggs,
Right.
because I was telling him,
hungry.
he's
Right,
hungry.
he wanted
He's
to make
like,
it
he didn't
work.
want to wait for me.
Right.
He actually, one of my sons also, he called 911 on me.
Oh, wow.
One time. I was outside talking to the neighbor about selling their house, and my phone rings. I hear my house phone ringing. I went and got it, and they're like, yeah, we're calling back from 911. What? And they're like, yeah, a little kid called 911. And so I said, oh, sorry, it was false alarm. And I asked him, why did you call 911? He says, well, because you're not talking fast enough.
Oh, wow.
So it's an
Okay.
emergency. And I'm like, so that's why I'm saying, like, these kids are something else.
Yes.
Because they're trying to find a way to get my attention.
Right.
So you learn real quick. And especially, like I said, with my clients, I absolutely love what I do. And now, I started training agents. I love being a mentor. I love sharing, because to me, I didn't have that when I started. Nobody showed me. It was,
Figure it out for yourself.
Exactly. And it was like, I remember my first offer, I didn't even know how to write it. And
Wow.
they just threw a blank offer at me, and they're like, just copy that one. That's how you do it. And
Right.
so no one really sat there and showed you, what
Walk
you
through the
needed to
process.
do.
Right.
Yeah, and so now it's like, gosh, I have all this experience, this knowledge. Why not share it? But the funny part is a lot of agents don't understand or appreciate it. They want to do it their way,
Right.
and it's a hard way. So they'll learn.
Yeah. What they say, a hard head makes a soft behind. So they'll realize that, because real estate is not as easy as you see on social media and TV.
No.
It's a totally different ball game.
Totally
Now,
different.
Tell the people really quickly, how long have you been married?
Since 2015, so however long that is.
So 15, 20, that's 5. We're in 22, so 8 years.
Eight
So 8 years, okay. And then how many children do you have?
4.
So 4 children, married 8 years, and you've been in the business how long?
26 years.
26 years. Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot of experience.
Yeah.
That's good to have. And you made a very good and valid point about you have to deposit into each section of your life, meaning the marriage, into the children, into the business and the clients. But at the end of the day, for men and women trying to do all of that and keep things together, mentally, how do you keep that? I mean, obviously, maybe some people pray, some people meditate. How do you keep all that together? And what suggestion would you give to people who are doing the same thing?
I think the most important thing is you definitely need, to be happy inside. Like, you have to find whatever your happiness is. Like, for me, it's doing what I love.
Okay.
Like, if that's what fuels me.
So it's not even work really because you love doing it.
Right, absolutely. So for me, that all day I'm getting filled up by what it is that I enjoy doing. And then we definitely make time, for one another. It's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do as a family. My two oldest are gone now; they're not in the house.
Okay.
And but we do have a 7-year-old, so he requires a lot of attention and time. So we always ask him, what is it you want to do? What are you looking forward to? Oh, I just want you to watch a movie with me, or I want you to play, this with me. Right. So we take turns. Okay. We have to, because we ask each other, what does your week look like? Who's taking him to school? It's like all the tasks are divided. And even as far as, meals, what are we doing for this? And my time with my husband is our lunch. Like, right. we go to lunch every day together.
Oh, nice. That's good.
That's something that we don't miss. And we've kind of got off it, but we're going to get back into it. But we would do a massage every Thursday. Okay. Like, that was our time, for us to regroup. And then of course on Sundays we would spend a lot of time together, and then with our families or our kids, whatever. Right. But it's just making those non-negotiable events, making certain things you look forward to, knowing, the days and the weeks go by so fast.
It's true.
They go by so quickly. Yeah. So like they say, if it's not in your appointment book, it doesn't happen. And it's funny to think that you have to have appointments with your husband or your kids in your appointment book, but
right. It makes a difference.
It does make a difference. Okay. Because that time's for them. And when someone calls you and says, because a lot of times if someone calls you and says, are you available tomorrow at this time? If it's not there, you're like, oh yeah, I am available. And then you realize, oh shoot, this time I was supposed to do that, but I don't have it in there. So now, who do you disappoint?
Right. And you don't want to disappoint your husband or your family, because that's important, and they support you as well.
Yeah.
So now your husband being into the business, you said that before he didn't understand, now he understands thoroughly. He's a mortgage lender, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and how does that dynamic work outside of the lunch and you and your husband working together and then going home? Do you separate the two as far as business? How do you do that?
We do. Okay. When we're home, we pretty much don't talk about business. Okay, I know a lot of people think that we do, but to be honest, we don't, because we have he's a really goal-oriented type of person, and so am I. But I would say that he's more the one that's like, we have to do this, we have to do that, I want to do this. So he's more, and just like today, he's like, as soon as you get done with this, do this, I want you to do this, because, he's always working towards something.
Okay, good.
And it actually, and that actually motivates me to want to work harder, so that way we can get there faster. But is it easy? No. Are there days where he doesn't wear a tie anymore?
Okay, all right. So you can't pull them along, right?
Yeah. So, it is difficult, because I have my way of doing things and he has his way of doing things. But the one thing I can say that I appreciate is he'll always tell me, you have more experience than me, so I respect the way, you do this or do that. It makes sense. I'll follow your lead.
That's big, especially for a man. You don't hear that too often. Because even if we don't know, we'll try to play it off like, oh, I know what I'm doing. We don't know nothing. So that's good.
So, so I would like to say that part, it wasn't easy. I'm sure it wasn't easy for him. Right. But I think he realized that, it makes more sense just to, I have the answers most of the time. Absolutely. And so instead of going through that. But but like I said, it is not easy. And everyone asks me all the time, how do you work next to him
every day and then go home? But that's good, because you said you leave work at the door. So you don't take that in the house with you, which is absolutely wonderful. I want to get into your classes and your mentorship. How are you with your husband, with the children? And then, different agents have different personalities. Some agents are almost like children, to be honest with you. Some need more attention, some need less attention. How do you deal with that? And then you also teach new agents to help get their license. How do you deal with that aspect?
Well, again, just, putting it in the calendar. What I've learned to do is give it a time limit.
Okay.
Before,
That
I don't
makes
think
sense.
I had as many like boundaries or blocks as I do now. So it's the expectations are on both sides.
Okay.
It's not just one-sided, where
Good.
before I felt like it was more expected of me to be available, to do this, to do that. But then when I would reach out to the agent, it's like, oh, I'm with my family today, or I'm doing this today, and it's like, okay. So then they call me at 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
Okay, I'm ready now. It's like, well, that's not fair.
Exactly. You
know?
were with your family earlier. Now
Yeah.
I'm with mine, but you want me to stop what I'm doing.
Right.
Got
So
it.
I think setting those expectations and the boundaries up front has really made a heck of a difference for me. More so that I even feel that I even have more time.
Okay.
Where before I felt I didn't have enough time.
Right.
So setting that, like I said, when you're meeting with them and telling them, look, this is when I do this and this. If you need this, and this is what's expected of you. You do this part, I'm available like this. So like I said, just setting that, and same thing with the new agents. The new agents that I have right now, like that aren't licensed yet but are in my school. I have 5 right now.
Oh, good.
And I'm really developing, great relationships with all of them. And I feel that they appreciate, because they actually had started initially at a different school, and they just weren't really happy. And it was by chance I met one of them. She brought everybody with her.
Oh, wow. Good.
And they just told me, like, it's just night and day, and they really enjoy it. I love teaching. And the purpose, I've always taught. Everyone remembers me as the iPad queen, because
That's true. That's what you're known for.
Yeah, that's what I, brought, way back in like 2011. But for me, I enjoy it because it pushes me to be better. And that's why when they ask me, oh, you want to do this or you want to do that, it's like, yeah, because now I have to sharpen my skills. And it just makes me a better person all around, honestly, in all aspects, not just in what you're studying, but
Right.
it's just whatever you're reading, whatever, if you have to do a presentation, whatever you're putting together, you're just getting that much better.
Okay.
So I look at it as, although I'm helping others, I'm actually helping myself at the same time.
Got it. Well, good. I'd love to hear that. What do you have planned for your office? As I mentioned in the beginning in introducing you, you run and own the Remax Champions Ontario office. What are your goals for that? Where do you see real estate going, and where would you like to go as far as an office and your agents?
I think that I'm definitely looking for more seasoned agents that want to maybe take their business to the next level, maybe
Okay.
have been, stuck at a certain place, and maybe they want, to figure out new ways of doing business. Maybe a lot of times, people just ran with the flow, and they're still doing what they did, 10, 15 years ago, but we're getting older,
Yes.
and we're getting tired.
And
so
things are evolving.
yes, and things are definitely evolving. So I love, being around people who love to learn, who are eager to learn, and who want to invest in themselves. I think more than anything, because not everybody's equal, and we see that.
That's true.
Every agent's different. They
Right.
don't, want to put certain effort into it, or they give up very easily. So that's more what I'm looking for. I'm looking more for, they say, quality over quantity.
Right.
And I love the new agents. I've always loved the new agents, because I see, like, a lot of the new agents that I've helped, and I see where they're at, and I see how well they're doing compared to agents that didn't start with me.
Right.
So the agents that started with me initially, and then I look to see where they're at, and they're doing well.
That's
and
good.
and that makes me proud. That shows me that, you know what, obviously, they because not everyone's going to listen and
That's
learn,
true.
but for the most part they do, and the newer agents don't have those bad habits yet.
Okay.
You know?
And hopefully they won't get them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's really all. I just want to continue to do that. Our plans are to invest more. I do have a property management, so I plan to grow that.
Oh, good.
And it's actually growing on its own. So,
Okay.
and I'm realizing how much I really enjoy doing that too. So I've always been the type of person to, look into every avenue possible.
Right.
Because you don't want to limit yourself as an agent. You want to be able to do everything. And
That's
I know
right.
a lot of people say, oh, well, just do what you're good at. But I feel I'm good at everything.
I think most women do, honestly. But generally generally you are good at everything, because you deal with so much and you handle so much and you make so much happen. Then yes, I agree with that statement.
Yeah, it's just learning how to delegate. Because obviously I can't do it all on my own.
Right.
So it's definitely having the right, people that's there to help support you and
Right.
do that too. So, but but yeah, always looking for good talent, that want to learn, want to grow. That's all we're about.
Okay, well, good. And it's a good culture over there.
Yeah.
We've done a couple of classes together, and every time people come over there, every time I come in there, it's a different energy. It's a good vibe. There's no negativity.
Yeah.
And you can feel that, and that's a reflection of your leadership. And I want to say that to you. So you do a great job with that. I want to go in as we conclude this. What piece of advice could you give, male or female, anyone who wants to get into real estate? Based on, again, you see all the gurus, wholesale, flipping, design, regular residential, commercial. You see all these different aspects. What can you give to someone who wants to get into real estate and just entrepreneurship overall? What kind of tips could you give them?
I think the best advice I could give to someone who, has no, experience, no knowledge, is to partner up with the right person. Partner up with, don't go figure it out on your own. It just takes so much longer. I know so many agents that are just focused on the dollar. That's not what you need to focus on. You need to focus on building your business. So find someone that you want to be like, that
right.
That you see their everything, not just oh, they have a lot of money, someone who has a great life, someone that
who's actually happy, because you have a lot of money and not be happy as well.
Exactly. Yes. So you want to surround yourself in that company, that environment, or that team, whatever it is. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but they only want to pay X, and it's like, yeah, because they're giving you what took years for them to learn. You're shortening that. So yeah, there is a price to pay, but don't look at that. Don't focus on the dollar. Just get in there, learn as much as you can, and when you're ready, you'll be ready to fly. And you'll do it right. It just doesn't make sense. Do it right the first time, so you don't have to keep backtracking and starting over
again.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That's good advice. And the other thing I like that I want to point out that you said, run your business like a business. And that makes a difference. So if something happens to your life, you already have these plans and strategies in place that it can just keep on going.
Right.
Because if you went to one Starbucks, the next Starbucks is going to make the drink the exact same way because they run their business as a business. And that's good. Yeah,
and that's a big thing, because I think a lot of agents don't necessarily see themselves as entrepreneurs. Like, they really don't know what that is. They just see, oh, I want to sell a house and make this commission.
Right.
And then they think, okay, I got this check. Now what do I do? But they don't understand that, they have to invest in their business. And I always try to tell them, when you go in, like you're saying, when you go into Starbucks, they don't wait for you to order and then say, hey, someone run to Staters and get some more sugar. Like, they're already prepared. They have all their, tools and everything that they need to make that client happy. And it's kind of the same thing. A lot of agents wait until they get a call for a listing or for a buyer. Oh, now I need a presentation. And they're running all over trying to do stuff. Instead of having, like I said, if you don't have appointments, it doesn't mean you don't have anything to do.
That's right.
Work on your business.
That's right.
There's
always something to do.
Exactly. And then as soon as you get those calls, or you get more clients or whatever, you're ready. You're ready to go. So definitely working on your business is probably one of the biggest things, especially when you're newer, that you're going to do more than out there with clients and making money.
Okay. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, Sonia, for coming on. If anyone wants to buy, sell, or invest, please reach out to Sonia. If you're a new agent, seasoned agent, reach out to Sonia. If you'd like to collaborate and learn more, reach out to Sonia. She is very knowledgeable. She runs a wonderful office, and I think that you'll be very happy if you're looking for a real estate home at RE/MAX Champions, the Ontario office. With that being said, thank you, Sonia, for coming on. And to the next episode, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.